You're listening to She's the Business podcast. Do you also believe that everything that you've done in life, everything that you've experienced has been leading you somewhere? I certainly do. And for me, that somewhere is your why, your purpose in discovering what it is that you're here to do. You may not be there yet. Maybe you're still wondering, where is this leading me? What is it that I'm meant to be doing here in this world? You'll know when you get there. And what I know for sure is often we have to go through some big upheavals. We've got to get really uncomfortable. Things will happen that we never expected, but to trust in the process. It's all leading us to where we're meant to be. And today I've got an amazing story of a complete change in life for somebody that meant that they got to the place where they were meant to be and finally discovered that it was leading them to their purpose all along. So stay tuned. This is a good one. Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and in my 23 years of business and marketing, I've built many brands to become multi-billion-dollar companies. And just in the last 10 years, I've built 2 online businesses of my own from my dining room table with 2 little babies running around at my feet. I've made it my mission to inspire you to get out of your own way and become the successful business owner who's living the lifestyle you really desire without all the hustle. This is She's the Business podcast, made by women for women. This is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration. Could you imagine growing up and thinking that you're going to be a doctor, then discovering that in your teenage years, being a doctor means seeing blood and guts and all of these things, totally putting that desire aside and turning to a career in IT? Well, that's exactly what happened to today's guest, the amazing Claudia Milbourne. And she is going to share her story of how she came from a career in IT consulting and flipped it completely on its head through a personal experience that led her down the path of her own personal health discovery that led her to naturopathy as a medicine. She became qualified as a naturopath, and now she's actually a doctor that doesn't have to see blood and guts and cut people open. She's able to help and treat people, help them to live their best life, and it's come full circle. She had no idea that the things that happened to her were leading her to her ultimate purpose, her why. And the experience that she shares and how she completely switched her entire career, created a brand new business right in the midst of COVID, launched it, and now has a thriving naturopathy business, online consultations, coaching. She's now a published author and a speaker. What an amazing transformation she's managed to achieve. And it wasn't premeditated. It happened simply through what was happening in the experiences that she went through in her life, and it led her to her ultimate purpose that she's now living. You're going to really love this interview because Claudia shares so much of her, the personal highs and lows and what really happened during this transformation. It's not easy to switch careers once you've already established one, and also moving around the world. There has been so many challenges that she's overcome in finding her true purpose and her why and the business that she was always meant to have. So without further ado, let me play the interview for you. Hi there, Claudia. Thank you so much for joining me today. Would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about what you do and who you serve in your business?
Definitely. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today and have the chance to have this conversation. Yeah. My name is Claudia Milbourne. I am a naturopath, nutritionist, and feminine embodiment coach. And I'm working currently in my clinic here in Brisbane. It's called Peoniflora. I'm the founder and principal naturopath here. And I serve people personally and online as well. So I've got clients all over Australia, all over the world, and locally as well. So I'm working mostly with women's health, hormonal health. Serve men and children as well, but the bulk of my practice is women's health and hormones. Yeah.
And what does a women's embodiment coach, what does that mean? What do you actually help people with?
Okay, good question. There are different ways of working with that. So I trained as a naturopath in university here. Mm-hmm. That was a long course. And I felt like a bit of that connection between mind and body wellness was missing. It wasn't just about the physical, but more about what's happening with that person as a whole as well. Mm-hmm. So I trained as a feminine embodiment coach through the School of Embodied Arts. And some of my peers practice as coaches individually, and I do one-on-one sessions as well. But mostly I embed that awareness of mind, body, mental, emotional, spiritual connection with the body health within my consultations and work with my clients as well. So it's kind of going one step up from the physical and helping heal what's really behind the source of that physical ailment.
Yeah, there's so much in that connection, isn't there? I mean, I definitely don't think I used to notice it so much when I was younger, but now that I'm in my 40s, I notice a huge difference and impact. Things like stress, and that's obviously a lot to do with your mind and your thoughts and yes, there's different types of stress and there are lots of factors that contribute to it, but you see such a big impact on the body.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're in that
and even the understanding of what is happening, why it's happening, or clients that comply with the treatment or don't, what's stopping you, what's blocking you from doing something is really good for you. Yes. But you can't get yourself to do it. So it goes beyond.
That is interesting.
Prescriptions, it really depends.
I can really relate to that because, obviously I'm in a different line of work where I coach business owners on business strategy and marketing in particular. And there's certainly a difference, in people's willingness to try something that they maybe feel a little bit unsure about. Even though they've obviously signed up with me, they're like, yes, I want to do this. I want the outcome. But then they're still resisting. They're resisting, the process and making some decisions. And it's like, you can do that. You don't have to make those decisions. But just telling you that it will be easier for you if you do. And, some people can do it quickly and they're open to it straight from the start and you see the results happen quickly. And other people, it takes months. And
absolutely.
Someone who has been working with me since the start of the year and has only recently just suddenly gone, it's finally clicked, and they've got that moment where they really figured out what their ideal niche was. And as soon as they did that, they've started, everything's now snowballing. The right people are coming in and everything that they wanted in their business for their vision is happening. And it was just that one thing that they kind of resisted doing for so long. Like, you had it there, you had the help, you had the way, but why? And so yes, I can very much relate to that. I think with health as well, it's you might think, there's that internal battle of I know I should do this, but and then what is it? What's stopping them from taking that step that they need?
Absolutely. And we also see that the flow can shift along the way. They're depending on what's happening with their life and environment and that whole aspect of the person. So when you think holistic is thinking as the whole, like, well, what is going on with that person beyond a presenting complaint? You'll see that sometimes they speed up and they want to do it all and they're complying with treatment and they're following instructions, and then it kind of backs off a bit and then it goes a different direction. So it's having a wider understanding of behavior, I guess, and what drives behavior, so that you can then leverage on that work with the client of mindset to actually get in there and get the action going. So not really sitting there waiting for things to happen to you and just manifesting that the universe will look after you on its own. Some things can be helpful and the universe can help a little bit, but it's not going to do it all. You actually have to get on the driver's seat. So I help them get on that driver's seat of their health and take control and drive it at their speed, at their own, pace, staying in their lane. But if they need a little bit of nudge to go faster, or if they need to slow down and just take it in and sit with that for a moment. So it's working that individual flow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so important to really think about, is that being in the driver's seat. I think that's such an important message, because, you know, whether it's to do with your health or your business or life in general, it's not happening to you. It's happening around you, and you can choose to be in the driver's seat, or you can choose to be sitting in the back feeling like you're a passenger in your life and it's all happening and you've got no control over it. But the thing is that, yes, there are things that happen around, but we can control how we respond, how we react, and how we act proactively. And there's so much that we can do.
It's not waiting. We have this tendency to wait for somebody to tell us we need to do this or that. So it's a bit of a fear factor of being in control. And being in control doesn't mean you're alone. I think people tend to think, oh, if I take that step forward where I'm in control, then I'm at the top of the pyramid and nobody's going to help me or tell me what to do. And I think being in control is actually acting from a place of informed decision, knowing what you need to do, where. But if you feel alone, then to reach out and have that control as well over who you bring in as your support team. Like, you can help other people, I can help other people. So it's like they're in control, but it doesn't stop you from having a whole world around you of supporting connections, be it mentors or coaches or peers, you name it, whatever you need at the time, and strengthening that network and connection. So in control, but not alone.
Exactly. And I think that's, you know, a metaphor came into my head where, you know, the best mentors and coaches, you know, we're there to help you. You're still in control. You're making the decisions. I'm not telling you what to do. But, you know, it's like, I can't do the push-ups for you. You've got to do your push-ups yourself. So when you choose to do them, that's good. But it's also, you know, I'm helping you make the best decisions for you, not telling you what the best decisions are, because it's not I'm not in the driver's seat. I'm in the driver's seat of my business and doing my thing. You know, I'm really passionate about the fact that everybody is different. Every person and every business is different because of that. And so it's about finding your way that is the best way for you, and asking the questions that help to uncover it, so that you actually feel in control in a good way. And it's not that you're in control, like you're saying, and you've got no one else is coming to help, and oh my God, what if I've made a mistake and it's all down to me? And I think maybe it's that fear of like, well, if I'm in control, maybe I'm going to make the wrong decision, and we've got that fear of making a mistake. And it's like, no, you're making an informed decision. And so you know, yes, you might make a mistake, but really, what's the actual impact of that? That might be a slight delay in getting where you want to go. Maybe you've got to stop and get a fuel on board or whatever, you know. It's like, it might be a little delay, but that's okay. That's just part of it. And no one has a crystal ball. We can't see into the future. All we can do is try to make the best sort of choices by being informed, but also to just be comfortable with the fact that you're making them, and that you are able to move forward, and with awareness of what you're doing and what the impacts are likely to be. And strengthening collaboration, I think, and you know, things are shifting gently in all areas I see of business or life or work, from that competition or hierarchy to finding collaboration. So a lot of times when I'm sitting here in the clinic, yes, we're looking at health, and I'm the professional, I've got the knowledge, but the client has the knowledge of their body. They know something's not right. They know where they want to go. So when I explain to them, this is not a hierarchical relationship where I'm the professional and I'm imposing a treatment on you. I'm offering you choices that I can provide to help. And we're working in a collaboration where you're bringing your knowledge of your body, what you know is not fitting right, but not sitting with you, and where you want to go. And I'm going to help you get there. So we're collaborating. And they sit and they go, oh my God, how does this work? Like, I'm used to going to the doctor and the doctor telling me to take something, but I don't even know what it is and what's for and how long it's going to be. And here we're in a totally different environment where they leave knowing what they're doing. They leave with a lesson on their body. Every time they're more
empowered, every time they're more informed, and that slowly gets them to the driver's seat of their health. It's not overnight, it's a process. But I find that making it really clear that it is collaborative, they have a say in going, oh, I actually can't do this treatment plan at the moment. Like, I can't afford it, or my life is too busy. I can't take these supplements and I can't fit it here. And I'm like, well, I'd rather you do what you can do, and we still have progress, and it might be a bit slower, it might be a detour, then feel like you don't have that space to discuss it, and then you just stop it because you couldn't tell me you couldn't do it. So, it's always this back and forth of what can you do, what can you implement, and this is what I can offer you, and then is it okay with you? So that's my way of working, and everybody has their method and philosophy, but I find I get really good rapport, and I get the clients to stay in their pace and, again, accelerate or decelerate depending on where they're sitting, because we can actually have that conversation.
Yeah. I think that when they understand why and they're feeling like it's the right fit for them, you're setting them up for so much more success than just saying, here's a prescription of what you've got to have and then go away and do it without any customization, I guess, where they're feeling like it's going to work for them. Yeah, I can really see that's such a difference in, I guess, the traditional, what we might be used to.
Yeah, and there's no benefit, I find, in holding information back from clients. Most clients are really excited to get to know more and understand. I'm not going to teach them a 5-6 year degree in a consultation, but a little bites of information so that they learn more about health, especially female health, hormonal health. There's so much taboo. There's so much misinformation. So many women walking around feeling like they're not listened to. It's all in their head. They're crazy. There's no solution for them. There's no hope. And when you explain things clearly, the body is complex, very complex. There's a lot to it, but it's very logical. So when you understand that logic, then everything starts falling in place, and you see these light bulb moments in front of you of people going, finally, I have an answer for my question. Like, I understand what's happening with me. Yeah. And that's really exciting. And I find that's one thing that surprises people a lot. The length of a consultation involves education in there as well. And it's one of the naturopathic principles to educate people, like the doctor as the teacher or practitioner as the teacher. Yeah. So I have knowledge, but there's no point in withholding it all. I can't share it all, but I share as much as it's going to help at that point. And if at each step, they're getting little bites after the course of, 6 months, 9 months, a year, how long a client's with you for on that journey, they're going to leave so much better off than they were initially. And then they can make decisions for their health and their life based from information. So they're making informed decisions. They're not just taking something because somebody told them, or taking something because a friend said it was good and they went to the pharmacy and got it off the shelf. So they know what's good for them at that time, for how long, in what dose, and they can see the difference in how they feel. So it's beautiful when the journey falls in nicely. It doesn't always. There's bumps and life happens, but that's the intent, that you're going to be able to accomplish that path.
Yes, I can so relate to that feeling that your clients must have, because from my experience going into a GP and trying to explain, look, I know things are off and they just looked at me and said, that's part of aging, and like, I've just got to accept that this is just what it is.
Infuriating.
And apparently, my BMI is normal, therefore I'm some sort of crazy woman. And she told me to go and talk to a psychologist about sorting out my brain.
Yeah.
Thanks for that advice. That wasn't really what I was looking for.
No, that's very demoralizing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I can imagine. So have you always, how long have you been in business? Did you have a job before you started the business, or?
It's a long story. I did work in IT consulting way back when. So traveled the world, seen a lot of industries, and took a little bit of a step back raising my children. Have 3 boys. They're grown up now. Then worked a little bit on family business consulting and a little bit of admin work and whatnot while I was studying. And then since I finished uni, I've been in practice. So I started up my clinic straight out of uni.
So and did you go online straight away, or have you been?
I've always had the intent of doing online and in person, so it did work out well that the receptivity to online consultations was pretty high up when I started. So I've always wanted to do both. So that's working out as expected. I just kind of had a bit of a flip on how I went into business. I was looking for an industry job initially to get a bit of experience, to have the time to set up my business so slowly the way I wanted, and then dive into clinic or do part-time there, part-time here. But then when the pandemic hit and a lot of the positions were not open because people weren't sure what was going to happen, where we were going to go, a lot of job offers kind of fell through for a lot of people. And I found myself finishing uni and having 100% of my time to do clinics. So I just went straight into the business. So I totally flipped my initial model and went straight in. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Things happen for a reason, I think. And, that was giving you the platter to have a clinic and be doing online consultations, and everybody being comfortable with it and looking for it as well. And it gives you such a bigger reach. Like, you can help so many more people than just the people who are actually able to physically come to your clinic. So.
It's surprising. Because you can help, I can help people locally. And I even have clients from Brisbane that are not too far from me, but they opt to doing an online consult because it's more convenient for them to go home from work and sit at home and do it. I've had clients sitting in cars waiting for school pickup. I've had clients sitting at the park on the way home from work or walking the dog. It's a different way of doing things. And then from then, you have clients that alternate. Sometimes they come in person, sometimes they do online, depending on the day. Then you reach out to further areas. I've got people on Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, Perth, South Australia, Northern Territory, Sydney. I can see clients anywhere. And then you go international, so I can see people overseas. So I've got a few clients back in Brazil, where I'm originally from. I've got Brazilians overseas. I've got a Brazilian in Ireland and other clients elsewhere as well. So you just have to tweak a little bit how you do your treatment plans and your prescriptions. Some places you could ship things. Some people, can't receive your prescription, but have to look for what they can get locally. So you adjust your timing too. That results in some consults in the middle of the night or early in the morning. But then I have times in my day that I'm off in the middle of the day. It gives me a bit of flexibility with my schedule as well, which I quite enjoy at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that for me, starting this business right at the same time I had a newborn, I just set it up as online right from the beginning, because I thought, well, it means I can do it from home. If the baby's sleeping, that's good. If she's awake, I can probably still be doing a session and she can be somewhere, entertaining her. But for me, it was the only way I could actually do it and feel like I can commit to this, because I knew that I could be at home and be available. So it does open up so many more opportunities, doesn't it? It
does, great. Absolutely.
Now, you were telling me before we came on the recording that you've recently been a co-author in a book, which sounds like a really great adventure and a big extension, I guess, from your core businesses. So do you want to tell us a bit about what that's all about?
Yes, that was a very exciting moment very recently. We launched a book in September. It's called Phoenix Rising, and it was a multi-author book project. So we had 19 authors in the book, and each one wrote a chapter. And the intention was to share stories of life, inspire the women, inspire connection, and show people that they're not alone, that everybody's going through different things. So the stories span multitudes of topics along the book.
Mm-hmm.
And we launched on Amazon electronically first as a Kindle, and now we have print copies, and we reached bestseller list within the first couple of days in 23 categories. So that was very exciting.
Wow.
And international best-selling as well. So after the book launch, we had a summit. So we had the Phoenix Rising Summit, where authors from the book presented masterclasses in their areas of expertise. I think those might still be accessible. From then, we've developed connection, interaction, opportunities for marketing, leveraging our business, connecting with the authors, their public, and the wider public. So it's been a very interesting journey, and it started with one thought of maybe I could write something and maybe I could tell a story. Yeah. And the fear of going into writing alone or writing a book, that I'm sure most people have a little notepad or notes on things they would like to share, tell their family, tell their friends, but you think it's not good enough, or how are you going to do it? You don't even know how to start. So getting an editor like we had that puts this whole process together, makes it easy for you, coaches you on how to write, where to start, how to brainstorm, and holds the space too, because as we were writing our stories, it was a very personal experience. And for a lot of people, it was healing. For a lot of people, it was painful before any healing happened. So there was a lot of companionship, I would say, in that connection of writers with other writers and the editor with us writers. It wasn't just a business thing. Here's the editor giving you deadlines and telling you what to do. It was a personal transformation experience that we kind of navigated together, from the concept of what we were going to do to the skeleton of our story and how to, draw that whole journey and wrap it up. And then how do we get it all together where we all have something to do with each other in that piece, that we're putting in the big puzzle.
Right. And so when you started this, did you have a vision of how it was relevant to your business at all, or was it something you were doing more from a personal objective?
I started from a personal perspective. So I was approached by the editor. We had a chat like we're having now. I think there's something there. Do you have a story to tell? And I started thinking, yeah, I actually do have a story to tell. Yeah. So we discussed a little bit about the story that I wanted to tell and share in the book. And she said, let's go for it. I think that makes sense. I think it fits perfectly. I was in for the personal experience of getting a story out, sharing it with friends and family, figuring out how to write and how to write something, and edit and publish. And as I started developing the story, because the story has to do with my career change and how I ended up in naturopathy and how I ended up where I am, that tied directly with my business. Right. And there came the opportunity to then leverage my business on masterclasses that I was doing in female hormonal health. So I did a few that were called embodied hormonal health. So it's talking about women and their health journeys. And using the book as a tool to share what you're doing, share that you're getting out of your comfort zone, share that you're getting out of the clinical environment and connecting with people at a deeper level. Yeah. And it became a marketing opportunity.
Yes. Amazing. I'm actually likewise a co-author of a book as well, so I can understand very much about the process that you've been through. I was wondering if you would like to tell us in a very obviously short version, but what was that pivotal moment for you of the career change? What sparked it for you? Was it when you had your kids, or was there something?
No, it was something else. So I'll summarize very briefly because that's the story that's in the book, and it's a bit long. But when I was in high school, I wanted to be a doctor. And I did a biomedical high school pathway in my school. And towards the end, when we got deeper and deeper and deeper into the medical field, preparing for a pre-med degree, I realized I was way too squeamish to do med school. And I had this panic moment at age 16, 17 of, oh my God, I want to be a doctor. I'm passionate. I'm fascinated. My grandfather, who was a doctor, inspired me. I wanted to be like him, but he was a surgeon and I can't do surgery. I can't see blood. I can't do anything too squeamish. And how am I going to do that? So I backed off and last minute had to make a decision on career change. And I did admin, business, IT, and ended up in that path just because I had a very logical mind. I was good at that stuff and the market was booming. So I totally forgot about medicine, followed the consulting IT pathway, traveled the world, saw a lot of things, got married, had kids, took time off. And about 14 years ago, we moved to Australia. And in the first few years here, we had a huge shock in the adaptation. We thought it was going to be easy, thought the kids were going to adjust easily. We had already moved between the United States and Brazil. Moving here was just going to be another easy switch. And it was quite traumatic for the family, for the kids. Not that it's not good here, it's beautiful, but it is a huge change. And at some point over the course of the first few years, trying to hold myself together, hold the family together, house hunting and the whole process of, living in a different community and culture really hit me. And I think I had a breakdown. I was just exhausted and I didn't see it coming and I had no idea what was happening. And I was really, really ill for a while. Wow. With a big breakdown. And I was trying to look for help. And I started looking for help in the medical pathway and the conventional medicine. And they just weren't getting it. Nobody was figuring out what was happening with me because physically there was nothing wrong. And they were looking for things. I was doing tests. I was doing endoscopies, colonoscopies, tests, and I was taking medication and nothing was happening. And they were giving me more stuff and I was getting worse and they were giving me more stuff and I was getting worse until I figured I got to do something else. And I found a therapist to help me. And I just sat down and said, I need help. I don't know what to do. I'm not feeling good. Nobody's helping me. I can't figure out what's wrong. And she said, just pull back and stop. And let's go to the beginning. Like, are you stressed? Nobody had asked me before if I was stressed, what was happening in my life. They were just looking at a symptom. They were just, being very narrow-minded. And she was like, you've been dealing with stress for, years of moving and adjusting and settling through kids in 3 different schools in a new country and moving house 3 times. And of course, you're not going to feel great. And your body's giving you all these messages and you're not picking up the messages. So it's screaming for help. And she was the one who helped guide me. She happened to be a hypnotherapist and nutritionist as well. So started working on nutrition, the basics. And she said, go see a naturopath. He's going to help you further. And I didn't even know what a naturopath was, what a naturopath did. But I went. And I started treating and I followed the instructions and I was compliant and I was getting better and better and better. When I got towards the end of my treatment phase, and I was actually able to make sense and analyze what I had just gone through and what we just did, the penny dropped. And I realized what I was doing all along was medicine without the surgery. Because it was natural medicine. Exactly. And I was like, this is what I need to do. I can work in health. I can work with people without
you don't have to cut them up. It's great.
Exactly, to do that. And I can do everything else without going through med school and doing that as well. I can do other things in my med school and natural med school, which was nutrition and herbal medicine. So I enrolled in the degree and started my naturopathy pathway. So it was like, and the chapter title of my story in the book is The Long Way Home. So I took the long way to come back home to myself and my purpose, which was sown, in my teen years.
Yeah.
When I was 15, 16, 17, and I was so sure that that's what I wanted to do. But it took me that long in between to figure out how. And here I am.
Yeah. Wow. And I think, obviously those years that you had in business admin and in IT, I'm sure that all of that experience is also helping you in your business and in running your business now. So, I think
absolutely,
it has to be, things happen for a reason and they happen at the right time. It's incredible. But what a big career change as well. Like literally they're not related.
No, not at all. And I recently did an interview for a big news site, and it was about changing careers after 40 and how, when you change careers after 40, it is a big, bold, brave move. But at the same time, you're using all the skills you've accumulated in life, like you're saying, in different areas to put it together. So, your public speaking skills, your networking, your communication, your administration, your organization, like, even just being a mother and running a house and running children, plus a business experience, plus international, outlook into the world and cultures and people behavior. So you bring it all with you, and it's hard to put that on a resume. But when you're, on the day-to-day, you realize that you are using the skills that you have as a whole. It's not just a degree on the wall. I'm a naturopath. It's like, what else do I have? What else have I done that can help me do what I want to do now better?
And I think really, in the field that you're working in, where you're working with women, a lot around hormonal health, that happens at that age, that transition into your 40s, probably you're finished having children and you're starting to transition, like the hormonal imbalances, everything that's going on. It is, no one really understands it. And I think especially not someone who hasn't been through it.
Exactly.
Themselves. You just think you've got so much more just deep understanding of what it's like and how frustrating it is to be feeling like things are happening and you're doing all the things that you used to do that would work, and like now they're not working, and why are they not working, and all of those things, and just what the impacts could be. And I think having that real understanding means that you have so much higher value in the role you're playing, because you're not kind of guessing. You're not going from a textbook saying, well, this is what the textbook said about what happens. You're like, well,
real life experience.
We're all a bit different, but I very much understand what's going on and how that could be impacting as well. Like you can imagine so much better. You remember when you had young kids and you might be up half the night not getting much sleep, like that feeling of the utter tiredness. You're like, that is worse than a hangover. Like, and you can never experience it until you've actually done it, and you're like, now I understand, and I actually think we should be banned from driving when we haven't had any sleep.
Absolutely.
I think it's potentially worse than being under the
or having a child in the back seat of the car. I was always baffled that a friend of mine at one point got a ticket from a police officer because she was eating chips in the car, and that was distracted driving. And I'm thinking, distracted driving is having 3 children in the back seat, which is totally legal, and you get no ticket for it when you haven't slept. And
I know, and you're trying to pass them some sort of food or drinks while you're driving and changing gears, and they'll be like, "Mom, I'm hungry, pass it." I know. At the moment, my kids are, permanently wanting to control the music that's going on, so they're like, "Pass me your phone," and I want to. They want to get on Spotify, and I'm always like, look, we just have to wait until I've stopped driving, and then I can help you.
So life experiences is something we all can bring into any interaction, but you can't really put a price on it or put it on a resume.
No. That's sounds like a really incredible story to have contributed to that book. So
thank you.
Congratulations on that achievement. Now you can add author to your
yes,
list of
best-selling
achievements.
author is on my list now.
Amazing. And, like obviously it's still so new, that has writing the book and being involved with it, has it had an impact on your business?
It's starting to have a lot of impact in networking and opportunities. So out of that book and, the public speaking experience itself of doing masterclasses in each other's groups with the other authors and talking in the summit and being part of the marketing and the campaign to bring people in to participate in that has been huge. And then it's led to opportunities in finding connections where we can collaborate like we're doing now on the podcast. I've got a few podcast, invites coming through. I had an invitation to become a expert guest writer in a website that's launching now in December, January for midlife women in health and wellness of all aspects.
Okay.
So that will be interesting. So I'll be collaborating with that. So I'll be writing for a website. More interviews, more connections. So it's adding this aspect of not just being in the clinical space, but being able to connect with people and share information and knowledge in courses and programs and writing things and talking about things in different arenas. And that's quite exciting because you're doing something you love, but in a different way. So it brings a bit of dynamic to the day.
Yes, yeah, it is incredible, isn't it? And I think, I agree that I didn't know about these multi-author kind of opportunities, and I also had one that came up. Was it this year, or maybe might have even been the end of last year? And I could sort of see straight away, well, this is a great opportunity to create something of value through a totally different medium that people can connect through a book. And yes, just that ability. It's not just me promoting it. We've actually got a whole group of people. All
the
sharing.
gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the great thing, because everybody's contributed obviously something different, and we all have a different a chapter and a unique perspective, but we're all in a way linked as well. So although I think that's the beauty in it, it's really expanding the reach and awareness of you into new areas that maybe before you wouldn't have been exposed to, or they wouldn't have been exposed to you.
And the more you do things in this collaborative way, the more people see it, and the more people see you out there, the more opportunities come. And to me, it's ultimately all about human connection. If you're working in the coaching environment, if you're working in business, if you're working in health, yes, there are tons of practitioners there. There are tons of professionals there competing with you. And what brings somebody to you as opposed to somebody else? It's that human connection. It's that impact you have. And the more you're exposed to sharing your message, sharing, who you are really out there, the more people are going to see you and go, oh, I actually want to work with her, or I want to know more, or I want to follow her and see what she has to say and comment and create community everywhere. So to me, it's helping people feel better physically, but ultimately creating a village, creating a community, and having the dialogue and feeling like you've got that rapport with somebody where they feel like there's something that attracts you to them that's more than just your technical knowledge. It's important to have that to back it up, of course. It's not just talk, but what is differentiating you from another professional in your area?
It's just you.
Exactly. You
hit the nail on the head. Exactly.
And only you can be you.
It's like that is your unique difference, is you, and it's about being you and not being afraid to be you, and not worrying about it either, because I think we can tend to be afraid that, well, what if everyone doesn't like me? What if I need to kind of be on trend, or I need to do this or that, or sound a certain way, look a certain way to be liked? But we're not here to be liked by the whole world, by
no,
everybody.
not everybody
we're
will,
here to
but
attract
the right
people,
will.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm very strong about with my image and my branding and how I put myself out there. I conceptualize everything exactly the way I wanted it to be and the way it represented me. So when I do social media posts, I don't have somebody doing it for me. I don't have it outsourced to somebody. I don't have my posts programmed in a software that's going to post it for me just so I have a post a day. I do it myself, and it's very organic and it's very me. And it's mostly lifestyle and feel good stuff, not just content, because we do that in the consultation. We don't have to do that all the time. But it's really sharing with people what I feel that day, or what I want to do that day, or I had a beautiful drink, or I had a beautiful piece of food at a cafe, or I saw these flowers today, or I'm thinking this thought today. So I quite enjoy this posting and sharing when I'm doing social media as an opportunity again to share who I am and have people connect with that aspect. And if it doesn't please everybody, too bad. It's going to please who I'm supposed to be aligned with and I want to be aligned with. And that just kind of draws that authentic, persona of who you're putting out there. You're not just dressing up or presenting yourself to be perceived in a certain way, which I've seen some coaches and some marketing people go, oh, you got to buy this outfit. You got to look professional. You got to say this way. Yeah. Like it's like transforming you to something you're not. I'm like, I don't need that. I'm going to be myself. So who you see there is me.
Yes. Yeah. I 100% agree. And, for me, your brand strategy is about you defining who you are, and I say to clients, it's not about what is the on-trend color or what you think other people will like, like, oh, I'm dealing with women and they all like pink, therefore my brand will be pink. Well, is pink you? Is that what you would choose if you walk in somewhere and you're like, what color is like the one that really lights me up? That's your brand. Your brand is you.
Exactly. Or if somebody was to run into you out on the street casually, would you be wearing the stuff you're wearing on your photo shoot or on your website or on your posts? It's that congruency between who you're putting out there and who you really are. And to me, that's been really important from the beginning. And having that clear concept, I think, has really helped as well. Get the colors right, get the branding right, get the website right, get the look right. And then when they walk into the clinic, they're like, oh, this feels like what I've been seeing.
Yes. Yeah. We're so similar in how we think about that. And people say to me, oh, I feel like I already know you because it is, I am what you see. It is what it is. There is no filter on it. And for me, I think it's actually really freeing. And I think partly it's also, I don't know, I'm not sure whether it's because it all happened around the age when I turned 40 or if that had an impact on it. A lot of women go through this change, I think, around that age where you suddenly stop caring so much about what other people think, which is great, and have that, well, I'm me and that's who I am. And it definitely happened a lot for me around that point. But I also just find it so much easier. Like I don't have to think about, well, oh, I've got to do this or I've got to do that or say this in a certain way, or I don't buy people's templated posts. I'm like, no, I write my words because they're my words. Like, what's the point in writing a templated post that someone else has written? Well, that's their words. That kind of stuff, you can do that. You're never going to have the same result that person had because they're not you. It's got to come from your heart, and that's why. For me, I'm the same. I write all my own content. It's all organic, and sometimes it gets repurposed. And I certainly have a VA who helps me with some graphic design and things like that. But it's the words that come out are my words. I don't. I did try once to have somebody help me with some social media, and I was editing everything, and I just thought,
you can tell.
It's not working because I'm spending just as much time because I have to edit it all, so it sounds like me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's definitely a big factor in just that authenticity and people kind of knowing who you are and why they want to work with you and being drawn to you, because it doesn't feel like it's contrived. So I very much like to, provide things like a framework, and like, this is a, if you're writing a page for your website, here's a, a structure, but the words have got to be yours, and you can play around with it. You can still adapt it. This is just a starting point. It's that kind of thing where here's a structure, a framework, and there's a strategy behind it, but you've still got to apply your uniqueness into that to make it your own. And no one else can do that for you. Really, that's up to you and your business. So this has just been the most amazing chat today. Thank you so much for joining me, Claudia, and thank you for sharing your story and the experience, I think, of being an author and what impact that's had on your business has been really interesting to dive into. So thank you. And if everyone is wanting to find out a bit more about you, maybe even get some help with their hormonal health or learn a bit more about your book, where can they best connect with you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure to have this conversation today, and I really hope people enjoy chatting with us. Again, my name is Claudia Milbourne, and I'm the founder and principal naturopath at Peoniflora Women's Health Clinic. So website, Instagram, Facebook is all the same, pretty easy to find me, and hopefully we can put the notes down with the details for you, but it's www.peoniflora.com and Peoniflora on Instagram and Facebook. The book is called Phoenix Rising: Powerful Women Who Rose from the Ashes to Take Their Place in the World. And we can find them on Amazon as well if you're interested in reading more about the story and the other author's story. So it's published by Four Eagles Publishing. Awesome. That will make it pretty easy to find it. But I'm happy. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I will link all of those up in the show notes. So yes, if you
send the bio and the link and everything. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you so much, Claudia, and we will talk soon, no doubt.
Awesome. That was great. Thanks for the opportunity to connect soon. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So if you would like to improve the marketing of your business, then the first place we always start is with your ideal customer avatar. Now, my system for your ideal client is different to most. With my ultimate customer avatar worksheet, there are 35 questions to help you really deep dive into what your ideal client is currently thinking, feeling, and what their goals are, what they're doing in their buying behavior. Go to jessicaosborne.com/customer-avatar to download your free copy of my ultimate customer avatar worksheet today. And let's get started on defining who that ideal client really is.